welcome to the Retro Game Club podcast, season whatever, episode something. This is one of our backup episodes. We're recording it in January of 2024, while most of the country is experiencing a blizzard and or polar vortex. I say and or because in Chicago I believe we have both. This is Hugh, and joining me is someone who has not changed since 1984, Rob.
No, absolutely. Are you talking about clothes or personality?
All of the above.
Okay, so underoos and all that stuff.
Do they make underoos? I didn't have boys, so I actually don't know this.
I don't know. I don't think they do anymore.
Okay. Oh, I probably shouldn't Google that. I'm gonna end up on some.
Yeah, you'll be on a list for sure.
No, they do, and it's primarily for adults. It looks like now.
Wow, so retro even goes to underwear, huh?
Yeah, I see Spider-Man, He-Man. Oh, it's a vintage one. Orange Luke Skywalker. The orange jumpsuit. There's Boba Fett and or Mandalorian.
That's the new podcast, Retro Underwear Club.
Yeah, we try out different underwear and talk about it. And then there are some vintage ads, but most of this is like Walmart ads.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. I haven't been to the underwear section of Walmart in a while.
I can't imagine that's a very good place to go.
Yeah, I don't know. I do buy stuff at Walmart. It's mostly out of convenience. And also because they have pretty much everything. If you need to get like it's sort of like going to Sears back in the day. It's like, oh yeah, we're out of sugar and I need a tire.
Exactly. Yeah. Go to Sam's Club, get a casket and a pizza.
Yeah, why not?
But you chose this magazine read here, which we will have in our show notes. I always forget to say that up front. Go to the show notes now. We're reading a magazine. Read it with us.
Yes. So in what I think was our last episode of 2023, we talked a little bit about 1984 and how kind of dead the game scene was in 1984. And I referenced that my indication is, as a young person, possibly wearing underoos at the time, was that I became aware that video games were on the decline because the same magazine was in the store for months. So you go to the grocery store with your mom, she ditches you in the magazine aisle, and the video game magazine did not change. After a certain point in 1984, it was the same magazine for just forever until it was too raggedy for them to keep on the shelf anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what we're reviewing. Video games, 1984. I think it says May 1984, but that means it would have come out like April.
And this cover is almost not safe for the grocery store aisle.
It's pretty graphic for the grocery store aisle. It is a Grim Reaper. It's an ad for a new Laserdisc game called Atomic Castle, which I forgot to look up if it actually got released.
It looks like a Fangoria cover.
It does, yeah. But you could get Fangoria in the magazine too.
Yeah, that was a great magazine. I loved that magazine.
Yeah, I own like 2 issues, but because they're like the ones that were like the couple that maybe had Star Wars stuff on the front.
Yeah.
Well, there's no Wikipedia article for Atomic Castle, which is the name of this game. So I'm guessing this turned out to be vaporware.
That's awesome on the cover.
It's right on the cover. Well, let's see. International Video Game Arcade Museum has a page on it, but then so does the Dragon's Lair project, which listed as a unreleased prototype.
There you go.
And this is definitely the same game, so I'm going to go with unreleased.
And unlike Dragon's Lair, we'll get into this game in a little bit, right? They do a big write-up on it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the guy on the front, I mean, it looks like it's a Grim Reaper / like it's kind of got like a charred flesh look about him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the grim part. That he doesn't look like he is undead. He looks like he recently suffered a horrible accident.
Yeah.
It's like end of what was that bad Star Wars movie, Revenge of the Sith?
Yes.
It has that kind of like Anakin at the end of Revenge of the Sith look.
Yeah. And turning right into page 1 and 2, I'm already confused. So it says "here at last," and "here" is spelled like hearing, not a location, but games with real music for your Atari. And so I read this whole write-up with this very weird looking, almost undead looking orchestra conductor.
Okay.
And I thought this was going to be for a sound card or a sound adapter, maybe the speech synthesis for like in television, that kind of thing. No, it's just for like some games they program for the 8-bit Ataris. That's all.
Yeah, it's games that they think have good music.
Which I watched a playthrough of Tale of Beta. Was it Larre? Is that how you pronounce that?
Well, I got here. I have this open on my Kindle, so if you see me looking in a weird direction.
Lyrae.
R-A-E.
Yeah.
Larre, yeah.
So that actually looked pretty good, and its sound was pretty good. Now, this does say, we're done with the bleeps and blops, but I mean, a lot of bleeps and blops in there.
Yes.
But very confusing, not very effective 2-page ad.
Yeah, I see this ad a lot. I've actually probably seen this ad in 10 different magazines. I do read a lot of old video game magazines. And I've seen it a lot, and I always just kind of skim over it. I never thought to like go and watch a playthrough, download some of the music from these games.
Have you read the ad? Because it's horrible. It uses really like stupid words.
Yeah, I'm sure I've read it. I didn't read it this time because it's one I've seen so many times. I just kind of, I don't know, skip through it.
Yeah, well.
There's some other ads in this magazine that are like, oh yeah, I've seen that thing 100 times.
Yeah.
Especially given you're into this era where the game industry is not doing well. That's where I think you get a very small number of ads that tend to repeat in the last few issues of these magazines.
Yeah. Let's see. My next note is for page 5. Did you have anything before that?
This is the editorial page?
Yeah.
No. I mean, table of contents is table of contents,
Yeah. So page 5, has the editorial kind of intro page, and I want to give this editor a high five. He literally predicts in detail the multimedia craze of the mid-90s, and this is an 84. Like, if he just used the word compact disc instead of laserdisc, it would have been flawless. So very right on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when the compact disc was first released. Like, all this stuff was always earlier than I expect. Like,
it was invented 83, 84, but it wasn't really around until 85, 86. Like, more common, yeah.
Okay. So it existed, but at this time he's still thinking Laserdisc rather than like I'm gonna have a big Laserdisc player, which again would be a Laserdisc based game system. I mean, there was one. I think it was technically vaporware, but no one ever did. But it's true. Like, eventually, media was going to switch to a CD format just out of storage.
When you were in high school, did they make you take this computer thing that I have a very vivid memory of this? That was on Laserdisc, but and you put in like your likes and dislikes, and it tells you what you're going to be when you grow up.
No.
Well, it told me garbage man, hairstylist or something.
Oh, mine would have just said unhappy.
That's pretty much what. Mine was not very on, but I was very, very surprised that it was
on Laserdisc.
It was on a giant Laserdisc thing, hooked up to like a monochrome monitor. It was very strange.
And you were in high school in like the mid '90s.
Yeah, I graduated in '96. Yeah.
So that's a little bit obsolete.
Yes.
I will say this: my kids who are in high school now, well, one's in college now, and the other's a high school sophomore here in the year of the 2020s, right? Mm-hmm. They take health class, and health class has all the sections on drugs and other issues, and they played a video, like it was supposed to be some sort of like educational video about drugs and relationships, and they're like, and here's your host, MTV's Dr. Drew. And it's like Dr. Drew from like in a silk shirt from like 1997. Like they have not upgraded in 20 some years, upgraded this video apparently. But I guess if you graduated in 96, you would not have gotten that video.
The don't smoke in health class videos that I think they've still used till very recently, and you could see them on YouTube. That was in my mall. That was Lakeside Mall in Michigan. That was all like, even back then we were like, wait, that is really familiar. And then, going through the credits, you could actually see. So it's pretty funny.
All right, well, getting to the magazine, a big part of the editorial is about how, man, all the other video game magazines are gone, but we're sticking this one out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
This Laserdisc revolution's going to happen. We're going to be in it.
Yep. And of course, it did not, unfortunately.
No. So page 7 and 8, this team effort. Did you read this thing at all? Because
I did not know. I'm reading this on the Kindle, so I can't see the page numbers.
Okay.
Oh, wait, there they are. They're in the. Well, they're different. So they're PDF. It's page 5. You said 7 and 8.
yeah, so page 8.
Okay. Yeah, it's
So
off a little bit.
next to the Epix ad, it says team effort. And I need, again, someone to explain this to me because I've read it 3 times and I'm not sure if this is like an Atari VCS adapter for an Amiga or an Amiga thing for an Atari. I don't know what I'm looking at here. And I've read it over and over.
It looks like a multi-cart to me.
That does what?
Switches between games. You would put.
Oh, it is a it's not an adapter, it's a multi-cart.
That's what it looks like to me. It looks like a multi-cart. Because I'm looking at the slot. Like, this would clearly plug into the 2600.
Huh.
And it looks like they're bringing something called the Amiga Power Play Arcade series. So it sounds to me
That's what was
like
confusing.
they want to put 5 Amiga games onto one cartridge with a switcher of some sort. So you actually have like 5 ROMs inside.
Oh, God. Yeah, Demon
That's what I think is
Attack,
going on.
Atlantis, Cosmic Arc. Yeah. Very strange. And then the article right under it, Eliminating Electrifying Forces, goes on to say that 92% of daily system interruptions are caused by static. And first of all, even back then, no one's having daily system interruptions. Second of all, that's not a word or a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think, I think if anything's causing it, it's like your bad floppy disks or something. I don't think, like, you're not inside on the components doing stuff,
Yeah, I mean,
Unless
maybe
you're
if
using an Atom computer, maybe.
maybe, or if you're in some incredibly low humidity environment.
Like you're in a walk-in fridge or something.
Yeah, or you're playing games literally in the middle of the desert.
Yeah. So they really, there's some fear mongering here with your CRT and your keyboards.
Yeah, and so when I talk about ads that appear forever, the Epix ad on the next page is like there forever. That's one that's in like every issue from the late 83 to 84. Then we have a section here about a robot that makes dinner.
So in my notes, I don't know if Zach is going to be able to copy this into the show notes, but it's called the Hubot. And some dude on YouTube, which does not have many followers, does a little piece on this. And it's very informative. And it's pretty much a computer. I forget which computer, but it also has a VCS, a radio, what else? A printer and a few other things. You can add a second floppy disk. And I just want to say that this thing is hilarious and beautiful. And when I die, I want my brain downloaded into one. I mean, I'm sure my brain is like 700K, Yeah. But yeah, this thing was released.
So somebody paid $3,500 in 80s money for this thing.
They tried to get funding for 2,000 of these for an initial run, and they couldn't. So a few were made and a few were sold, but it never got like majorly released. But some were sold.
Yeah, this wouldn't be too hard to actually make one of these on your own, but
you could do this with a Raspberry Pi, probably.
Yeah, you could easily, yeah.
And it'll play Doom.
It definitely will, yeah. Also on this page is the Meta Writer, which is basically how like the Famicom disk system worked in Japan. It's a kiosk where you insert a blank disk and it writes a program. So picture like a red, what is that kiosk called with the DVDs? Redbox?
Redbox, yeah.
Redbox, okay. So it's like Redbox, but imagine you're bringing a blank CDR.
Mm-hmm.
Or DVD-R, I suppose would be more right. So this can accept cartridges for the Atari VCS, VIC-20, Commodore 64, ColecoVision. So someone had already made flashable Atari carts at that point.
That's
and
awesome.
also the IBM PC Junior.
That's great. I wish this would have taken off in the States, but I've never seen anything like this in person.
No, game stores would have hated it for sure. You would have had a hard time with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, my next note isn't till page 14.
Okay. Yeah, and page 11 is a little bit about how the industry seems to be having a hard time.
They've noticed.
They've noticed. So page 14, this is the portable TV and camcorder.
Let's see. The tuning into video games. So I guess that's 15. Where?
Okay, yeah. So again, Kindle's one page off. Okay, so
No, you're right. I just wrote it down wrong.
Okay, so but page 14 is like a little miniature portable TV and a little handheld camcorder.
Yeah.
So again, they have to, video games are not doing great. So you gotta, fill in some other sort of adjacent products. People who like video games probably like portable TVs. I think it's a reasonable conclusion to draw.
But my note was for, again, the video game cable box in the States that you could get. Looks like Coleco and maybe a few. Are Sega games in there? No. But yeah, again, this is 84.
Yeah.
Cable TV wasn't that popular back then. Not yet. It was getting there, but.
Yeah. Now, this service was only in Los Angeles and the Pacific Northwest. So two areas that had, were maybe ahead of the rest of the country.
Yeah. Definitely ahead of Detroit. And we get into the next page, which is the computer mail order ad section. And you could get some computer games for like the Atari 8-bits and stuff like that for $30, or a 1200 baud modem for $500.
Yeah, I was looking at this. It's hard for me to tell if any of these are a good deal.
Yeah, this is a little bit before my time because usually these pages are my favorite. And when I went into this one, I got excited, but I don't know, it's just kind of like some printer cartridges and stuff like that. But I was the dork, the 12-year-old dork that had a subscription to PC Shopper. That's how much I loved, which is, 600 pages just like this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't subscribe to it, but I definitely bought it a few times anytime I was looking to build a new PC, I would buy it for about 3 months in a row just to get a feel of how prices were.
I was like an encyclopedia of it. And then I think we get into one of your favorite sections next, the letters?
The letters to the editor, which this letter, and you noted this in your notes, I believe.
I used very bad language.
Yes. Well, this page has, for the first and last time in history,
drum roll, please,
a gamer admitting they were wrong.
And apologizing profusely.
And apologizing for it, yes. This has never happened. You will search every gamer YouTube channel, right? Yeah. You will never find this.
There should be a Twitch channel that just streams this still image of this article. That's how groundbreaking this is.
Yes.
And you don't even see, so he is apologizing about what he wrote previous month to the editor. Right. And what was it about again? It's too small on my screen right now to see. I don't have my
I was thinking this person's still alive.
Oh, I hope so. If not, I hope this person's a millionaire or like working for Greenpeace or like doing some kind of good.
In all likelihood, he died November 8th, 2009.
Oh, man. That's sad.
That's the most that appears to be. I mean, it's going the age and the time. I'm like, so it would have been subtract 20 years. Okay. So the author is William D. Harding Jr. from Frankfort, Kentucky. who seems to have passed at the age of 65 in 2009. So it adds up there. And how William D. Harding Jr. is a very specific name.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, in Kentucky.
In Kentucky, yes. I don't know. Maybe it's like John Smith over there. I don't know,
But so what? He had strong feelings about were there a lot of too many ads for a certain system or something.
Yeah, I guess I should have gone back and read the previous one.
He talks a little like, and I was also a little bit malice towards your readers who expressed their interest in Atari 5200 and ColecoVision. So he thinks they're excellent systems, and he doesn't care what people likes. So he was also judging people who liked different systems than his, which computer guys have never done that, right?
Never in the history of we.
TRS people never hated Commodore people.
Never. This is. Let's see if I can find his original editorial here. Hold on, I have that issue here on my hard drive. Aha, there it is. It's actually in the February 1982 issue.
And what was he angry about?
I could read
that was a long time ago.
And there's a whole... What kind of contract does your magazine have with Atari? You seem to be pushing the system to the limit. I have seen publications that are a little one-sided, but your magazine gives new meaning to the phrase. Your so-called great debate between the owners of the ColecoVision and 5200 owners is nothing more than an old cheap publication gimmick that I thought went out with Packard's. Another example of your bias is your reviews of home game cartridges. You had 9 reviews of Atari 2600 cartridges and not one of any other system on the market. You also neglected to mention the fact that you used 5,200 graphic representations for 3 of your reviews. That's pretty bad. This, my friend, borders on the subject of false advertising. It seems that the only Coleco product you did bother to even mention was a system designed to play 2600 cartridges. I buy these magazines mainly for information on new home releases I might want to add to my collection, but your publication is of no use to me in this area. Last, but certainly not least, the statement by editor Roger C. Sharp that VG, meaning the magazine, covers the world of video games like no one else can is something you should seriously think about retracting. Man, this guy's salty. However, an easy way to get around this is to just rename your magazine Atari Monthly or something similar. I wrote this letter in an effort to get your attention on the subject of journalistic fairness and an attempt to make your staff realize there is a world beyond the 2600. A sincere effort on your part could net a whole cache of new readers and subsequently increase sales. I hope you have read this last paragraph carefully and take the letter in the spirit it was intended. William D. Harding Jr.
And
Frankfurt,
the spirit
Kentucky.
was pure rage.
Pure rage over that they're only covering 2600, a system that, again, the market's not kind of collapsing at this point. And I suspect if you were to look back at the situation, and we can't obviously talk to Mr. Harding Jr. about this, that you probably weren't getting a lot of new ColecoVision games. I mean, the system was darn near dead. So if he died in 2009, I guess he missed out on seeing his musings on Facebook. So that's a shame.
Yeah, well,
but he did admit he was wrong. So that is actually very hard for many people to do.
Well, like a year and a half later, right?
Yeah. No, 3 months later.
Oh, okay. 3 months later. Okay.
But you don't know from the time he sent it to the time he read it to the time he sent the response, because by the time you're reading that February issue, they probably already have the next issue all set to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I mean, man, that it just blew my mind.
Yeah. But this letter, which I'm not going to read, this is like the letter in this issue is longer than the one I just read. And it's really just about, I didn't mean to be unfair and mean.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Pretty much acknowledging that maybe there was no malice. Maybe it's just video games and it really doesn't matter.
Maybe it doesn't matter at all. Yeah. But that's all I got. That's all I got energy for now. Letters.
Yeah. Well, the other. I wrote emails in here.
Yes.
But yes, probably hand typed letters were very 5200 heavy.
They
And
were, yeah.
someone sends in a Qbert trick that I'd like to try. He says, this is John Adams with no H, John Adams from St. Anne, Illinois. You know where that is?
I do not. And you're looking at the Jungle Hunt tip.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So this is Clark Pope from Rock Fall, Illinois. I found a trick on the VCS version of Qbert. If you are on the top square of the pyramid and Coily is on the bottom left square below, you can jump off the pyramid to the upper left without losing a life and gaining 500 points. So I'm not sure exactly what he means. So is Coily at the very bottom or just below you? I can't
Maybe
tell.
very bottom.
Because it's, yeah.
St. Anne, Illinois is a very small town that's basically in Indiana.
But now this is Rock Falls. Rock
Okay.
Falls, Illinois.
Oh, I don't know where that is either. I know where Rockford, Illinois is.
It sounds southern.
It does. Oh, okay. It's west. It is. If you were gonna, I've probably driven by a sign that said next exit Rock Falls. It's off
Okay.
Highway 88. It's almost midway between Chicago and Davenport. A little closer to Davenport than Chicago. It's a decent sized town. Rock Falls actually looks like if you were doing a cross country trip and you didn't want to wait for the world's largest truck stop in Iowa. That looks like it would be a town you could stop in and do some stuff. Look, man, they have a restaurant called A Touch of Thai 2, implying that there must be a first Touch of Thai somewhere in the area. So if they can support 2 Thai restaurants, it's probably all right.
And it looks like this may have been a missing person. No.
Yeah, it's the problem. You start Googling names, so you find a lot of people with the same name.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, the menu at Touch of Thai 2 is really impressive, man, because it's like Thai food and sushi and mojitos.
Wow.
It's just all over the place.
Wow.
And it's right off a river. And next time I have to drive to Iowa, I think I'm going to stop and check this place out, actually.
You should. Maybe they have a Qbert machine there.
It is the kind of town where, you will just find like some random old arcade games.
Now, I don't have any other notes until page 30-ish.
Okay. All right. Well, I got to skip ahead here.
Well, at page 24, we get into that Atomic Castle game. I don't know if you want to talk about that one.
I mean, I kind of do. There's like it's sort of like a little bit about a little bit about the history of Laserdisc games, and then it jumps right into this Atomic Castle, which I'm assuming is a Dragon's Lair style game. Now that it was never finished, I guess you can't really see a playthrough or anything, but it's definitely like a horror themed, Dragon's Lair clone. They mention Mach 3 a lot in the article, even though all the screenshots to me look like Dragon's Lair, but with sort of a mix of like digital actors and
I was going to say
acid.
this has like a digital feel to it.
Yeah, it has like digitized graphics and drugs is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because there's just a lot of like weird, kind of psychedelic looking effects in the game. I wish I could have tried this. I'm sure it's. I mean this non-sarcastically. I bet it's amazing.
I agree. Yeah, it looks cool. It really does. This is something that I would hope like a limited run games would do, if you somehow find it and finish it.
No, this is more like a Galloping Ghost project.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
They have a couple of games. They have one Laserdisc game that's like a interactive fiction Laserdisc game that was exactly, it was like unfinished, and they have somehow finished it and made a cabinet for it. So if you could get them the Laserdisc or binaries or whatever for this game, Galloping Ghost would definitely figure out how to get this running again.
That is cool. Yeah.
I suspect it's not finished enough, though.
We have some joystick ads.
You didn't want to talk about Pigs in Space, right? Or did you?
No, I mean, it was a Game Club game. It's fine.
the whole next section is about kids games.
Yeah, which again, Sorcerer's Apprentice on 2600 was a game club game, and I agree with his description and his positive comments about it. I think it's a fantastic game. I think it was a game a little bit ahead of its time.
And I think the 2600 Game by Game podcast might have done Big Bird's Egg Catch at one point.
That sounds
It seems really familiar. And Ferg will go into any genre of game on that show.
Have you played the Snoopy game? It looks pretty neat.
No, I haven't.
It looks like a 2D side-scrolling shooter, but he's on his... I guess he's like the Red Baron, or he fights the Red Baron. I guess
he fights the Red Baron.
Yeah,
the Red Baron is the bad guy.
Yeah, that would be weird if he was the Red Baron, but yeah.
Yeah, it looks familiar, but no, I have not played that.
And then you could buy some old issues of Video Games magazine, 2 of which are sold out.
Yeah, I will say this. When I look at this page, it sort of reminds me how much I enjoy the artwork of this magazine.
Mm-hmm.
I would have framed posters of all of these covers in my game room.
Yeah. This is like Atari 2600 level artwork here.
Yeah.
Covers, yeah. And
So did you want to talk about jukeboxes?
No, never. No, boring.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So when I first looked at this issue, back when I was a kid, I probably just skimmed past this section too. But that's how, another sign of where the game market is, where it's like, well, what are we going to write about this month? I don't know, jukeboxes.
Yeah. And it makes me think these guys were possibly close to middle age when they wrote this, because it looks like they were getting a little nostalgic from stuff that they would like to collect, retro stuff for them back then.
Probably, yeah. Yeah,
But
a lot of that.
growing up, when my dad was needed a break of being his own entrepreneur, he worked for a vending and jukebox machine company. And because of it, we had a Primal Rage at our house and a dart machine, but for this story, a jukebox machine. And that was the only thing I wasn't excited for, and he didn't really understand why I wasn't excited for it, but it's like, Dad, I have my own CD player. Like, I don't need this giant thing to play one song from,
Yeah. Now, I know like LP sales are officially ahead of CD sales now.
Oh, for a while now, yeah.
Yeah, for a couple of years. But but not singles though. That's the difference. Like, you couldn't bring jukeboxes back to like hipsters that like records, because jukeboxes, I don't believe, ever did LP. That wouldn't really even make
That was
sense.
just like 45s, yeah.
Yeah, so you'd have to get the 45 to come back.
That would be kind of cool, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but now a lot of kids are doing tapes again. That's coming back.
Oh, I don't know why. I mean, the LP, you can at least skip to a specific song if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why people like LPs, because they break easily, and if you leave them out near the sun, they melt, and they take up a lot of space. So, like, there's a lot of downsides to the LP, why it was gone. But you can skip to any track.
Yep. There is a contest in here going for the gold, where you answer a bunch of summer games questions. I guess this was the LA 84 games, right?
The 84 games, yeah.
And you could win a track and field arcade cab, which I would just like to say, I would just rather not own a track and field arcade cab. To me, that's barely a game. It's just pushing buttons quickly.
It is. I mean, I like the artwork on it. It's one of those things where, like, I think it looks cool, but no, I would never play it.
No, it's boring. It is boring.
But then, yeah, it's a trivia. And again, you didn't have the internet or Wikipedia, so I don't know how you were, unless maybe Guinness Book of World Records had all these. But it's trivia that you would fill out this form and mail it in, right? I mean, think about it. Like, what year did the USA's Rod Milburn set the 110-meter hurdles record of 13.24 seconds? How, as you as a kid in 1984, how would you find that out?
Yeah, unless it was in your giant wall of Encyclopedia Britannicas. Maybe Guinness Book. Maybe. If it was the right issue. I don't know.
Since 1896, the Americans have won the gold in the high jump how many times?
How would you know that?
Yeah. I mean, you can get that today in 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
But you as a kid in 84, there's no way you knew this stuff. It doesn't matter. The magazine folded, so no one won the contest.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Did you want to talk about Mach 3 at all?
Well, I do like the visuals of Mach 3, and I have seen like this sit-down cabinet in an arcade before.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this was, I mean, in terms of new games, there wasn't really a ton. They mentioned Elevator Action in the same article as being a new game.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought Elevator Action was kind of overrated. I think it's okay. But maybe it benefited from there being a downturn in the arcades, right? If there's not a lot new, then anything new is going to look really good.
And you know, I heard the recent reboot was actually very good, but I've never played it.
Yeah, and like the Game Boy version is like surprisingly really good.
I feel like this was a Game Club game.
Yeah, it was. We did, and I think I played the Game Boy version. Mm-hmm. Someone will go back and correct that neither of us played any version. But I think the Game Boy version of it, they did a pretty good port. Mm-hmm. But have you ever seen Mach 3?
Oh, yeah. It's kind of a spectacle in person, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one where they say there's some movies you got to see in the theater. Like, I guess there's this new Godzilla movie that's really popular right now, and everyone says it's great. I'm like, well, geez, I don't think I want to watch it at home. If I'm ever going to see Godzilla, like, I guess I'll have to spend the money to see it in the theater. Whereas, like, there's the Von Erich brother movie, and I'm like, I guess I can wait for that to be on streaming. Like, I don't. That probably doesn't benefit from big screen as much as Godzilla does. And Mach 3 is one of these things where, like Discs of Tron, it benefits from the cabinet.
Yeah,
it's just not even close to the same experience, playing it on an emulator.
Oh, I wish I owned a Discs of Tron. I wish.
Yeah, we did that article maybe a year ago about the people who found one on the curb. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I'm still upset about that.
Like,
I am still upset about that one.
That might be the favorite article of our favorite article we've ever discussed on the show, really.
It's the one that got to me the most.
Yeah, well, it's just such a crazy story. I mean, like, I've seen like a pinball game on the curb before. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever seen like an arcade cabinet, maybe like a repro or some kind of junky one. Mm-hmm. But to see like a actual like super rare, coveted arcade game on the curb,
and environmental, so it's like the size of 4 arcade cabs.
Well, yeah, that's the one people want, right?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you get the non-environmental Discs of Tron? It's just, why would you even bother with that?
Yeah,
is my view.
I don't have any notes until Cloak and Dagger on page 55. So I don't know if there's anything before that you want to talk about.
No, the next section is about pinball games, and it, again, kind of feels like another sort of nostalgia piece.
My pinball craze, because I do love pinball, doesn't really start until maybe the early 90s, like the Star Trek Next Generation. I do love the Star Wars one, which is 80s. I do love Pinbot. I don't know when Bride of Pinbot. I don't know when those came out, but that's when I really started liking pinball stuff. Maybe Twilight Zone, was that 90s or 80s? I don't know.
That was like 90s maybe. I feel like Twilight Zone was a little bit older because it's a pretty complicated cabinet.
These feel very old. These are like 70s.
These are 70s cabinets they're reviewing for sure.
Yeah, which is not fun for me. They just weren't. There was nothing to them, I thought. But they give a cool review about in a little background about Cloak and Dagger, which I don't even think they mention the movie.
Could be it. No, we did Cloak and Dagger as a game club pick, if I recall correctly.
I love it. Yeah, I used to have the cab. I love it.
Yeah, it's on Atari 50 also, if you just want to play. It's an easy game to play today, so that's good.
Yeah, and I agree with their assessment pretty much on everything they say in it. And Tapper's next.
Tapper, yeah, which I guess I would have thought was a year or two older, but no, it's a new release. You know, I'd said Elevator Action maybe benefited from the time it was released. I think Tapper maybe is the opposite. I feel like Tapper would have been a hit anytime.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. What a great concept for a game.
You haven't played Timber, the sort of sequel to it, right?
What is that one?
It's mechanically Tapper, and the main sprite looks like the Tapper guy, but now he's a lumberjack for reasons.
Oh yeah, is that the one where you're like on the log in the river and you have to like go back and forth to stay?
Yeah, there's multiple stages. I don't recall that one, but yeah, it could be.
Here, wait, let me try to get YouTube on without. Oops. I'm looking at YouTube right now. Yeah, you chop down a tree. Yeah, it is the same guy. I never noticed that.
Yeah, they're trying to do like a Mario thing with him, I guess. You know, just make him the everyman character.
Oh, man. This is bringing back memories. I totally played this.
Yeah, I don't remember the tree balancing part, but I didn't play a ton of this. Oh, yeah, there it is. I see it. It's a bonus. Okay, yeah, I remember this bonus stage now. I take that. Yeah, the bonus. Yeah. I thought you were like trying to chop a log that you're standing on it the way you're describing it. It's the bonus stage where you're riding a log down the river.
Oh, this is going to be a game club game. Whoa, there's a bear throwing a honeycomb.
Well, yeah.
Whoa.
As bears are apt to do.
Oh, this is definitely going to be a game club game. I thought for some reason you disliked this game. Maybe I was thinking of a different one.
Well, I've only played it like at Midwest Gaming Classic. It's okay. I don't dislike it, but I'm not like, oh man, I got to get a timber cabinet.
Yeah, I mean, I played it a lot because there was a restaurant we went to when I was a kid that for a while this was like the main game they had. So my parents give me $1 and it's like the game I would play. What other notes do I have? Page 59-ish.
I don't know, is that Let's see. Real? Okay. Video gaming the second time around.
Oh, yes. Yes. So did you read this article? It is about the editor or one of the editors had a friend that said you could buy a Repro ColecoVision at this kitchen store. And so he walked there the next day, got a Repro, and it was an official Repro, but there's no way he could test it. And it was only for $90 instead of $120, which back then that was a big difference. And
yeah, that's a big difference.
And he got it home. It was really glitchy, but the good thing was that it was an official Repro. So he called Coleco. They told him where the closest official repair shop was, which was down the road also, and they fixed it for free. So he pretty much got a new Coleco for a big discount. He said, you guys should try this too.
So you keep saying repro. You mean factory reconditioned?
Yes, sorry. Yes, okay. That's what I mean. I'm glad you picked up on it.
Yes. Yeah, that's basically what it's about. And then there's a review of a few games in here, or at least one game. Subterranea.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, I want to say it looks familiar, but every game looked like this back then.
Yeah. Well, and like Mega Mania is on here, so that's a pretty decent Activision game.
Miner 2049er.
Miner 2049er, which I know was popular, but I never got into. Congo Bongo, I think, was an early game club game that we all didn't like that much in the end. Pit Stop, I have no idea. I remember seeing reviews for this game or articles about it in the past. I don't know what it is. You're working the pit stop. I don't think you're even driving the car. And then what I thought was a pretty successful game, Nova Blast.
This is the strange write-up they do, because from what I see, and I could be wrong because I didn't read all of these, but I feel like there's two authors, two editors, and they both did a write-up for this one, one right after another. It was really confusing. Like, I was like, wait, is this a different game? Or was I reading about a different game before? No, they just both write about it. As if maybe they didn't realize each other were going to write about it. And they were just like, just put them both in there. I skipped over the Timex Sinclair stuff because I don't care about that.
Someone cares about it, but
not me.
I don't. I think it's a cool looking computer, but it also looks like it would be horrible to use all the time. Like that keyboard does not look like something I want to spend 8 hours a day on.
It looks worse than a Atari 400 keyboard.
But I do like the picture here with like the full stack. It's like, it's more than like the Tower of Power, you know, it's the Sinclair and the drives and the cassette adapter and the cartridge adapter and the printer all kind of chained together into one thing that looks like the flight deck of something from Star Trek.
It looks like something from like Epcot Center. You know what I mean? Like Futureland or something.
Yeah, this is the computer of the future, according to Epcot. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it'll be making your coffee or whatever. I don't have anything till the end. I skipped over all the Nolan Bushnell stuff. I started reading that, and I'm like, this guy's a D-bag.
Yeah, I mean, his interviews do. I mean,
he's fine. He's fine. But
yeah, I mean, he's a
just
big
didn't
ego
care.
guy, and to a degree that's earned. I mean, obviously he has done some great things. Like, I think it's okay to have a big ego if you've actually done something. But
Yeah.
it does make for interviews that are kind of annoying to read.
He's talking about how he owns 13 companies at the time or something. And it's like, cool, dude. Cool.
Yeah, the thing about modern day Nolan Bushnell is I don't spend a lot of time looking at like Kickstarters and Indiegogos anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But you are hard pressed to find some retro gaming console attempt on one of those that doesn't have his name attached to it in some capacity.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think if you give him $50, he'll say he's an advisor to the system.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, because he definitely, I think he's on the board, or he had something to do with Atari, the new thing. And then what's that streaming? Ant Stream, something like that?
Well,
Is he
Ant
part of
Stream,
that?
yeah, I think he had his name on that. I don't know if he had his name on the Pie Packer that we've talked about before. I don't know if that's still a thing. I don't know. I don't remember that his name is not, but I've seen a lot of these projects where it's like, here's our special advisor, Nolan Bushnell. And he, again, advisor means you gave him $50 and he sent you one email.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good for him. Great work. I wish I could make a living doing that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree. Interviews with him can be, I mean, they're one-sided. You know, if you watch like panels from other people who worked at Atari, a lot of people paint a very different picture of him than he paints of himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Like at first I was really interested, with all his stories about jacuzzi meetings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But, then I think back, I'm like, a lot of people involved probably weren't actually that into it and felt like they just had to do it because he was the boss. And maybe it wasn't a good situation.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll talk about this in our next formal episode, but because it's in here, there is a picture of a Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes.
Yeah, and I over a winter break did an escape room that was Chuck E. Cheese themed. They couldn't call it Chuck E. Cheese, but the idea this was like an abandoned Chuck E. Cheese where the robots are evil now.
That's Five Nights at Freddy's. That's what
it is. It's very Five Nights at Freddy's, but the guy got a Chuck E. Cheese robot.
Oh wow!
But he had to alter the appearance a little bit so it looks more like a rat than Chuck. But it's clearly a Chuck E. Cheese doll, right? Clearly it started as that, and has been made up to look, like a more of an evil rat. It was a really great escape room.
That's awesome.
But I was going to talk about it in the next episode.
Well, on page 75 might make you twitch. I don't know if you want to talk about page 74 at all, but page 75 is probably your least favorite page. Probably brings back bad memories.
You mean you're saying that the page 74 where it's about like a manual for a word processor?
Yeah, you don't want to talk about that one.
No.
But no.
The Atom.
Yeah.
The good old the magazine about the easy home computer. Coleco creates Atom. I think this is a fake magazine on here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and the guy touching it shows a spark. Maybe he's causing static. That's
as we print. Yeah. I did not. Like I said, man, I legitimately wrote like real papers well, I mean, high school, then it's not really that real. On the Atom, I mean, it's a functional computer, but man, is that a piece of junk.
Yeah, I didn't go through these video games too much. There's a lot of computer games in here because I thought that might be the future.
There's a lot of computer game reviews, and some of them are ports. Like the first one is River Raid, which is, a port, and Bedlam for the, what they call it, the Radio Shack computer. I don't know why they don't call it the TRS-80. Don't remember that one at all. But this other game, Bedlam?
Nope, I don't know that one.
Looks like I'm guessing it's a text adventure, but it's not an Infocom game. I don't know. Some of these I'm curious about, but not like I'm going to try. I'm curious.
So wait, don't go any further pages. Stop where you're at. I'm on the stats page.
Okay.
What do you think the top 4 games are in arcades?
In
Top
arcades?
4. Yep.
At that point.
At this point.
Oh boy, that's in arcades at that time period. So it could be track and field.
No.
Okay. It could be what we call it, late 83. Is Dragon Slayer on that list?
That's number 1.
Number 1, Dragon Slayer. Okay, so is it just Dragon Slayer, Space Ace, and
no more Laserdisc
Tron?
games. No more
Laserdisc games. Okay. Just Dragon Slayer.
2 of these actually only one surprised me. The other 2 make sense when you're looking at
Is
them.
one of them something that has just hung around in arcades forever, like Miss Pac-Man?
I only know the date of one of these other games.
Okay,
so
well, I'm going to have to surrender. What are the top games?
Number 2 is Star Wars.
Okay.
3 is Pole Position. Which
all right, I think that's an 83 game.
I thought it might be a little earlier. Okay. And the next one is the one that surprised me. It's Sega's Championship Baseball.
That has to be a typo.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. And then there's stats, which I don't know. I mean, feel free to go to this page now, but
yeah, I just hold on. Okay, I don't know what this ranking is on. This is home games.
I don't know. So the first one was earnings.
Earnings. Okay, so that means Qbert was the top earning game.
No, in pink, the pink part with the top arcade games. That's
pink.
earnings.
I'm looking at the yellow part.
Yeah, the yellow part is the one I don't understand.
I don't either. I'm also looking at the high scores here.
So I picked yesterday at lunch. I picked 3 high score names because they give their full name and their address. Well, and their city and state.
Yeah. And some of these are going to be like Billy Mitchell's probably listed in here somewhere.
I didn't see. So I'm not giving their names out because I don't want to like.
We gave out one person's name.
Yeah, but he ended up being
one
dead.
name. So there is one name I recognize.
Which one is that?
The Robert Boney from Kirkland, Wisconsin, with the 511 million points in Robotron.
Okay.
I forget. There's some story about that.
Well, so the baby Pac-Man guy, I'm not going to give his name. He popped up in a few forums talking about high scores. In like 2006, the forums were. The Burger Time guy was a police detective, and you could watch his retirement video on YouTube.
Okay, nice. Good for him.
Yeah. And then the Star Wars guy is a city engineer now in the town that he is listed in. So these guys are like, it's crazy that they would post this stuff back in magazines back then.
Yeah. So it's old, but the Robotron one I remembered because the record was legitimately broken a while ago. But it turns out there'd been a lot of debate over what actually was the correct Robotron high score for a long time.
Okay.
This 511 million score had been around for a while, and then someone had claimed to score 960 million, but it turned around the same time period. But it turns out that they maybe used a different arcade setting than the 500 million score. This is all kind of, flying by the seat of your pants. Like you go to the arcade, if they change some settings,
yeah,
maybe
you don't
knew
know
that, maybe you did. Well, yeah, or maybe you did know, right?
Yeah. I was going to say, and if you're Billy Mitchell, you'd be still litigating this because of reasons.
because of reasons. But my understanding is that the record had been broken at some point, but that this 500 million score was sort of considered like the last real one. Some people had scored higher, but again on different settings. I think I remember this because it is a record that had stood for a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah, I don't see any of the names you'd expect in here. I don't know what the Dragon Slayer. I don't know if 370,000 in Dragon Slayer is good or not.
I know I can't get anywhere close to any of these scores. That's all I know.
Wow. Okay, so the world record here by because I say Kevin from Tulsa, Oklahoma. He sent in 370,954 in Dragon Slayer. The current record is 374, only 4,000 more points. 950,
Wow.
exactly 4,000 more points.
Wow.
And this was done on, done in some way that is believed to be legit.
Yeah.
It's in Guinness World Records. I don't know what that means.
I don't know if I trust Guinness. I think I'd trust almost anything. Because can't you pay to get into Guinness?
Yeah, you can. That's what Guinness says is the current world record. And the guy that has a record for some other game too. You know what? I'll go ahead and say that one's legit. A lot of these, it's really hard to tell how real they are.
So have you ever heard of Super Bunny? The next page?
Oh no, sorry, I was still looking at
sorry.
The because they don't have Pac-Man. Do they have original Donkey Kong in here? They have Donkey Kong Jr. So those were the two games Billy Mitchell was most known for.
Yeah.
For playing even then. So I don't know, 101 million points in Joust. Doesn't that seem absurd to you?
Well, I mean, 108 million in Star Wars is insane too. I mean, I'm sure people get 500 million now, but still, I'm still at that 1.5 million, maybe pushing 2.
Yeah, because this article I'm reading is pulled up here seems to say that Joust maxes out at 9,999,999. And there's a YouTube video of someone breaking that on a real machine with lots of carpal tunnel equipment. He's got wrist pads. Man, I'm sure his wrists have got to feel like garbage.
For sure, yeah.
All right, so I'm not sure. That one I'm going to call shenanigans on. All right, so Super Bunny.
Have you heard of it?
No, I've not.
Yeah, Commodore 64, Atari, and Apple II. Yeah, I've not played that one. I don't know if it's a real thing. And then the last
real to me.
page. The last page is a pretty strange ad. It's the bathroom stall with some phone numbers on it, some 1-900 phone numbers.
Yeah, I don't. What is that number? Is it video game tips or is this an adult line? Well, let's just Google it and find out.
Yeah, I can't tell. It says a lot about Hubert, and it says Frogger eats flies.
Oh, there's a lot of ads. There are a few pages talking about it. Atari H has a thing about it.
But what is it?
It's a video game tip line, it looks like.
Interesting. Wow. I don't see... Let's see. Yeah, call our new favorite video hotline.
Yeah, if you look in the very bottom corner, it says, copyright 1984 Parker Brothers.
50 cents per call. That's not too bad. You'd think it'd be per minute or something.
Yeah, but I mean, how long does it take to explain how to beat Hubert on the 2600?
I know. Jump around a lot. Did you ever call the Nintendo hotline or anything?
No, I knew someone that called the Sega hotline 1,000 times trying to get through Phantasy Star.
That had to be a fortune.
I'd say no. Sega actually had a free line.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Sega had like literally like an 800 number.
I called the Nintendo one once just to see what it was like, you know.
So if you ever want something good to review, go type 1-800-USA Sega, like archive.org. Okay. And there is on archive.org, there is a list of like all the guides for the counselors at 1-800-USA Sega.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that needs to
I
be
think
an episode.
I think I downloaded all of them. I don't know if they're still up there. Yeah. The question is, where did I put it? Ha, 1-800-USA Sega. Yeah, they got, I mean, some of it's just like Outrun is one of them. Okay. They have East. They have Phantasy Star. A lot of games that I just don't understand, like Altered Beast for Sega Genesis. You know, don't die. Like,
Yeah, keep pressing the button over and over again.
Miracle Warriors probably needs one. I don't think I've read this one. They have one for Montezuma's Revenge. Which, that game is just hard. I mean, even with the walkthrough, I don't think I could get through it. King's Quest, one you'd like there. It's pretty short though. Just a step-by-step walkthrough. It's barely a page and a half.
Well, when you know what to do in that game, yeah, it's not that much.
The East PDF is pretty long. So they got Tommy Lasorda Baseball for Genesis. Oh boy. Oh, this is just passwords. If you want to play. Okay, that's enough of that. So, what did you think of this? If you were,
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I usually when I go back and read retro magazines, it's more 90s stuff. So I like when you pick this 80s stuff because it's stuff I would never pick. And this one was a really good one. I like this magazine. It seems different than a lot of the rest.
yeah, I think it's a good snapshot. Those are the things I like. I like these magazines that are, very good point in time snapshots.
Now, you use your Kindle. How is the experience on that? Is it hard to read?
No, I mean,
Is it in color or black and white?
Yeah, it's a PDF. It's just a PDF, right?
Oh, so it's like a Kindle Fire? Or is it just the Kindle app you're using?
It's I don't know what this is. It's a Kindle. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a tablet.
Yeah.
With a case, and you press the thing that says files, and then you have a list of PDF files, and then you click one, and it takes a second to load sometimes, but then it's like,
yeah, looks good.
It's a magazine, and you can, if you want to make it really big, you can, I don't know.
Yeah, seems like a good experience.
You just go to archive.org because it's got a browser, and you just download the magazines right to it.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
well, if any of our listeners has a recommendation for another magazine read, please send them to us. I think we've had a pretty good selection so far. We got this one. I think we did a Turbo Direct one.
Yeah, we did 3DO magazine. I'm sure somebody was interested in that. I would do a European one just to get a different perspective if someone has a particular issue.
Like an 800-page PC shopper or computer shopper.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that, but stuff like that. I was thinking of one where it's like a magazine that has basic programs you type in. Something like that would be fun.
That would actually be like a cool YouTube or Twitch thing. Like type that in, see how it works first time.
Yeah, you'd have to convert it to Python or something.
No, you just do you could do like DOSBox and do like, I think there was a lot of QBasic ones, if I remember.
Yeah, I most remember C64 and Apple basic ones.
Yeah, just do an emulator.
All right, well, we should wrap this up.
Yeah, please email us, email@retrogameclub.net, and we have no idea when this will air. Right now, we're in the middle of a blizzard. I think it's supposed to rain and then freeze again, so who knows? It might be warm when you listen to this. We don't even know.
Could be. We have no idea.
So
All right, well, thanks for listening.
Thanks.